Welcome to the Model Health Show. This is fitness and nutrition expert Shawn Stevenson here with my amazing, talented, beautiful co-host and producer Jade Harrell. What's up, Jade?
What's up, Shawn?
How are you this fine day?
Today, I am inhibited.
What is that?
I am liberated from my fear and inhibitions about being all that I aspire to be.
Wow, that is crazy deep.
Mm-hmm.
The other day I said to my son, he said something, I was like, that was deep. He was like the ocean.
Really cool. Make you want to do the poetry snaps.
So
right?
tell me a little bit about that.
So you and I were kind of having a conversation. And I kept thinking about my contribution because there's a burning in me to give even more. We talk about that a lot. And I said, well, why do I not? Because I keep these inhibitions about what I can or can't do with what I have today. Mm-hmm. And I decided to break free of that. And
you said it was actually painful.
It was very uncomfortable.
Read the text that I sent you.
All right. So this was actually this morning, and it was kind of challenging. I asked you if you could, in your opinion, what was the greatest area of contribution that I would have to the world, and how can I best serve humanity? My value, how can I impact with value and influence? And I asked you to share with me, and you said, well, can I write it down? I knew this was a big question, and it might require more time and thought. And with that, I had to share that I appreciate you taking the time because I'm so restless with whatever this is that's burning inside in my spirit to give, and give in the very best way, the very best of me in a big way to make life better for people. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. You replied with, it's uncomfortable, even painful when that shell gets too tight. It was uncomfortable for a long time, but now it's about time you break out and spread your wings to fly. And I needed that permission, and it liberated me. And I ended up writing several pages.
Right.
That released it.
Right. It looked like a Beautiful Mind scene, on your paper when I came. I was like, you wrote that today? And so much came from that, just giving yourself permission and understanding, so many of us, we're in these shells of our own creation in a way. And it's very comfortable in that shell. If you liken this experience to being like a bird in its shell. And once you're developed enough, it's like, you don't want to necessarily go out there. Like, you're comfy. The shell's been nice and cozy. You've been getting everything you need. Right. But now it's so uncomfortable, you have to start pecking away. You have to break out. And guess what? You're going to be able to fly once you break out of that small world that you've kept yourself in. And so I already see it happening. And thank you so much for sharing that and having the courage. Yeah. And I encourage everybody, same thing. Ask the people in your life if you're in a place where you know that you've got all of this potential, which everybody listening knows how amazing you are, but we always have another level to get to. Ask the people around you, what kind of things do they see in you? What gifts do you have? What natural talents do you have that you can bring to the table with certain things? And,
that's exactly why I asked you.
Yeah. I just heard Gary Vaynerchuk, and I had the opportunity to actually have a wine tasting with him. Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of drinking, but I drank that day, with Gary Vaynerchuk.
You're going to learn today.
And he's the creator. He's the creator of Wine Library TV, Vayner Media, and just all of these New York Times bestselling books. And he actually said that that's a great exercise to do, is to ask the maybe 5 closest people in your life, what are the 5 things that you see about me that are the most valuable things? And it might be as simple as you can cook really good, right? To you are the most compassionate, understanding person I've ever met. It can be a whole variety of things, but have the courage to ask the people close to you, what do they see in you? I think it'd be great.
It took courage, and I asked you first, because one of the reasons why this has been comfortable and a challenge is because the people closest to me saw me in the shell as well. You've always seen me outside the shell and through the shell. And so I started with you and knew that was kind of the best direction. It was just a natural thing to do in my spirit.
That's powerful. Like, I got the X-ray vision.
Right.
I got the
what
Professor Xavier.
Stop looking. You see my brain? What does it look like?
You got a fatty.
I got a fat brain.
You got a big fat
I remember
brain.
that.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning
wow.
in today. We've got an incredible show lined up. And I just want to thank everybody who's come out to the book signing, everybody
So
who's bought a copy of Sleep Smarter and helped to make it a success. And I've got so much to share about this, which over the upcoming weeks, I'll share more and more about the experience. It's just been phenomenal thus far. And I just want to thank you so much from my heart. But since a lot of people have the book now, I want to dive in and share some of the more interesting things in the book.
Okay.
And so today we're going to be talking about 4 unorthodox tips to help you to sleep better every night. All right, so we're going to talk about some of the stuff that is a little bit unexpected.
Okay. Some of your weird science.
Weird science.
That's right. Ooh.
And so that's what we've got on tap for you guys today. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our amazing show sponsor, Onnit.com. Head over to Onnit.com/model, and you're going to get 10% off all of your health and human performance supplements. They've been a huge supporter of the show since day one. And the only reason that I partnered up with these guys is because I use what they're putting out. The Alpha Brain has been so helpful with all these interviews and the travel and all this stuff I've been doing. The Hemp Force protein, the Shroom Tech Immune. It's great to have, especially when you're traveling, to keep your immune system on point.
Okay.
Head over there and check them out. Their stuff is too legit to quit.
Right.
As MC Hammer, formerly, eventually Hammer, eventually out of work.
Yeah.
But I guess he was too legit to quit.
He was. He didn't quit.
He needs some Alpha Brain.
He needs some all of that.
Big comeback coming when you get some Alpha Brain, Hammer.
Tax attorney.
So head over to Onnit.com/model and you're going to get 10% off. Now let's get into the iTunes review of the week.
Well, this is just more evidence of how much we appreciate you out there and your connection with us. This one is another 5-star rating. Says, love it, from Jessica DeMuth. And I hope I'm saying that right. Says, I love everything about this podcast. I heard your interview on Shaylene's podcast and decided to check out yours. That was 3 days ago, and I've already listened to 7 episodes. Every single episode has been relevant, informative, and entertaining. Nutrition is such an important part of my life right now, and you make learning about it fun, backed by science, and simple enough to understand. Thank you so much for this podcast.
Special shout out to you. Thank you so much. And special shout out to Shaylene. Powerhouse.
Right?
And everybody who's tuned in. Thanks to Shaylene. And wow, everybody, I don't even know what to say. That's so amazing. And thank you so much for making me a part of your life. Thanks for making us a part of your life.
Yeah.
And we are really about to take stuff to the next level. This is actually episode 150.
That's powerful.
150.
Dude, we've been hanging.
From zero to superhero,
Yeah.
you know, and wow, I can't wait to see what the next 150 looks like. And yeah, it's a moment of celebration, and it all kind of is culminating at this precise moment. And we've got to understand there are no accidents. You know, all of these things, first of all, you've got to expect it. You've got to expect to win. You've got to expect to be able to cross that barrier and break through the thing that may have been holding you back. You've got to expect to see yourself at that achievement, at that accomplishment that you've always wanted. You've got to expect it and not just hope or wish or try, but expect it and also decide. You know, make the decision to do something great.
Absolutely.
You know,
make the decision to be inhibited.
Yes, inhibited. Write that one down.
I did. Believe me, that's the beginning of those pages.
So everybody, thank you so much for leaving those reviews on iTunes.
Happy 150, man.
Same to you. Thank you. We're twins on the 150.
Yeah, we are.
All right, everybody, let's go ahead and dive right in. So today we're going to be talking about 4 unorthodox tips to help you to sleep better every night. Right? Every night.
Every night?
So every.
Every.
So the first tip that we have here, and listen up, there's so much here. This is a very, very rich and powerful tip. We're going to go through different parts of this, but tip number 1 is getting some regular body work done. All right. You get some regular body work is going to help you to sleep better on a consistent basis. So I've got a question for you. How do you feel after you get a massage? You know, chances are you're not like, that's a great massage. All right, I'm going to go run a 5K.
Right.
You know, all right, let's go fight somebody. You know, chances are you feel very relaxed. You feel very calm. And the funny thing is a lot of people don't even make it off of the massage table before falling asleep. And so there was a study published in the International Journal of Neuroscience that found that in addition to decreasing long-term pain, test subjects receiving massage therapy experience improved sleep and an increase in their serotonin levels. All right. And so many times on the show, and also it's highlighted frequently in Sleep Smarter, the power of this neurotransmitter serotonin. And serotonin is a precursor to melatonin, which is your, quote, get good sleep hormone. All right. If your melatonin is suppressed, you can be, physically laid down unconscious on the mattress, but that doesn't mean you're getting normal stages of rejuvenative sleep.
Sure.
All right. That's the difference between somebody who's sleeping for 9 hours and waking up feeling like a piñata after the party versus somebody who's sleeping smarter for even 6 hours and they feel like a million or a bazillion. That's that next level. A bazillion dollars.
Gajillion after
the
that.
entire day. And so it's really about optimizing our life to improve our sleep cycles, get that sleep quality. Quantity is important, absolutely, but the quality is even more important in many ways. So getting that boost in serotonin is just one of the benefits. And what massage therapy really is sort of like a parasympathetic nervous system hack. All right. And so we've also talked about this on many occasions, and it's so important to hammer this point in as much as possible, is that we have our sympathetic nervous system, and this is also referred to as the fight or flight system, right? And so this gets you up and gets you going, gets that adrenaline pumping, cortisol is going. This helps you to tackle a tough workout, to accomplish a big work task, to just be aggressive, be assertive. And also on a deeper level, if you look at evolutionary biology, this is for defending yourself, literally fight or flight.
You better run.
Or get up out of here.
Run, girl.
And so we have this tendency to be very sympathetic dominant in our culture today, where the sympathetic nervous system is running far too often, because we can manufacture stress, we can manufacture fear. Fight or flight would be, again, from evolutionary perspective, just for if danger is present, but many of us today, we're very comfy, cozy in our lives, in our shells, and we don't have a lot of these same fears of like, where am I going to get my food? You can literally, you don't even have to get up to go get, what I'm saying? You can order the food, say, hey, the door's open, 20s on the counter, you don't even have to get up in our society.
You don't even have to pick up the phone and dial. You can voice command.
Right. Siri, so please understand, procuring our food, also protection, we've got like alarms on top of alarms on top of alarms.
Notifications.
And also the structure of our society. It's been set up in such a way that there's not a rival tribe coming in to take over, your city in many ways, and this isn't true for everybody in the world. There are still circumstances, very trying circumstances that people are experiencing. But for the most part, people in the more Western world, especially, these are not a concern. So our brains are very expansive. We can think up, manufacture fears, like that Verizon bill, or traffic, or worry about a work project or something like that. Somehow it gets connected to activating our amygdala, our survival part of our brain. It's just like, in a strange way, there's these fears that come up of like, I'm not going to survive. I'm not going to make it, or this could lead to potential death, some kind of way. This Verizon bill can kill me.
Right.
Or I won't be accepted by my tribe. That's another big fear, because exile from your peers, evolutionarily speaking, is grounds for, somebody passing away as well. So it's a fear there. Ultimately, there's going to be some kind of strange thing at the root of it. But the bottom line is, it's going to be okay. Pretty much all of the time, the Verizon bill is not going to kill you. And shout out to Verizon, I guess.
Right.
It's a little promo for you guys. There are other ones.
We won't charge you for that.
Sprint. Yeah. We'll just keep it.
That's
keep
right.
it Verizon.
All right. That was a good one. But I mean, if children can do it, think about when your child can formulate a picture and an emotion, and it could just be a shadow.
Right.
Even animals. I've seen
I remember
my dog go nuts thinking something was behind him. It was a shadow or a leaf flies by and he's skittish. So we all have that capacity, and it's very real.
I was going to say, I remember my daughter when she was maybe like 2 or 3 years old, and she was straight up scared of her shadow. Like she was like, the baby. I was like, baby, it's just, that's, it's kind of difficult to explain that. But also, of course, then I thought of Groundhog Day. Puxatawny Phil, right? Shout out to the groundhog who has How does he know if spring's coming early? I mean, the traditions in our
Lord,
culture,
we're something else,
silly
aren't we?
pants. Shout out to the groundhogs.
Yes.
All right. So now from the sympathetic, we can actually activate the parasympathetic nervous system with body work, with massage. And so the parasympathetic nervous system is your, quote, rest and digest system. Obviously, you want that part of your system dominating the show when you're trying to get some sleep at night, because if you're, sympathetic is on, you're producing cortisol. Cortisol is really the ultimate shot blocker. It's the Dikembe Mutombo. It's like wagging the finger at melatonin, right? It's like blocking the shot. It's not even fair. So cortisol and melatonin have an inverse relationship. So when cortisol is elevated, melatonin is on the ground floor, right? And so when melatonin's up, cortisol's down. So we want to get parasympathetic. That's what massage can do.
Nice.
All right, so we've got serotonin boost. We also mentioned that in the study, they actually did have improved sleep. Another thing that is activated through massage is oxytocin. All right, so oxytocin is known as like the cuddle hormone, or just that this compound that's released when you feel connection, but also through personal touch. And according to a study published in Regulatory Peptides, oxytocin has a calming effect on the nervous system that counters the effects of cortisol and promotes better sleep. All right, so it's right there in the research. And also, so we've got oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins as well. Endorphins and enkephalines. So these are like these kind of feel-good compounds your body produces.
It brings all those to light, huh?
Yes. All of that
invites them all to the party. Serotonin kind of is the opening show for melatonin, and then oxytocin warms up the crowd, and then the endorphins are like, man, this is a great show. I can just be.
In that party, we want to get invited to the good sleep party.
I like
pajama
that.
jammy jam, right?
Go.
And shout out to
party.
Kid and Play. Shout out to the epic cinematography and masterpiece that's known as House Party.
House Party. Yes, yes.
All right. So with all that said, with these positive hormonal benefits, why aren't people talking more about massage? Well,
what's wrong with it?
So here are a list of notable benefits that are seen in the research with massage. Normalization of blood pressure, reduction of inflammatory cytokines, reduced pain, improved mobility, improved symptoms of anxiety and depression, reduction in migraines and headaches, improved digestion and assimilation, reduction of stress hormones, and also an improved immune function. All right, and your immune function is a big part of this whole show of being healthy. So the question is, why aren't you hearing more about this? And so I want to read a section from Sleep Smarter to shed some light on it.
Okay.
So this is from chapter 19, Use Body Work That Works. And there's a subhead here. It's called Rubbing History. Massage has a deep, rich history dating back over 5,000 years. Archaeological evidence of massage therapy has been found in many ancient civilizations, including those in China, Egypt, India, Japan, Rome, and Greece. Throughout time, massage has been used as an effective healing tool. The person often referred to as the father of modern medicine, the Greek physician Hippocrates, said, "The physician must be experienced in many things, but most assuredly in rubbing." As time passed and we moved into the 20th century, massage was still being used in hospitals by nurses to help ease patients' pain and to help them sleep. However, around the 1970s, massage in the medical profession began to fall quickly out of favor with the advent of much more powerful pain medications and tranquilizers. Even still, the field of massage sprouted its own legs and began to grow as a form of therapy, particularly within the world of athletics. Only in recent years have well-conducted studies been done on the value of massage for other health benefits. And this coincided with the popular culture starting to put a higher demand on massage. I bet you've noticed a whole lot more massage studios opening up around you, haven't you? At present day, approximately 10% of the U.S. population is utilizing massage therapy at least on a semi-consistent basis. One of the big reasons it's growing in popularity is the experiential benefits on reducing stress and improving sleep. Many people don't even make it off the massage table before they drift off to sleep. One study monitoring brain activity found that massage actually increases delta brain waves. As you know from chapter 16, delta brain waves are associated with complete relaxation and deep regenerative sleep. This is yet another reason that body work shouldn't be a rare treat in your life. It should really be a necessity.
Love it.
So then I go on to talk about the different types of massage that are out there. There's so many that you can test out. You can try. You can just give it a test drive and see how you like it, And one of those, funny enough, and one of the most popular ones here in the U.S. is Swedish massage, which is great, but also acupressure. Right? You don't hear a lot about this.
No, you don't.
And so that's a combination, essentially, of the words acupuncture and pressure. And this is a form of therapy that's been used for over 2,000 years in clinical practice. And again, 2,000 years, not a drug invented last month. All right?
Right.
By Stanley,
Fresh out the lab.
The drug maker, right? It's not something that was just made up. 2,000 years of documented history here. And according to the researchers, there are specific places in your body where nerves relay signals to other organs and glands of your body if they're engaged. And basically, there are these different points in your physiology that if you apply pressure to them, they're activating activities in other places of your body. And it might seem like a strange concept to our kind of westernized mind, but everything in your system is intimately connected, especially through your spine. And we're going to talk about chiropractic in a moment here too, as another form of body work. So acupressure, let me share a quick study with you guys. There was a comprehensive study conducted through the Department of Radiotherapy and Oncology at San Gerardo Hospital in Monza, Italy. And it found that 60% of patients with sleep disorders had an improvement in sleep. Okay, listen, 60% of patients with sleep disorders had an improvement in sleep quality after just 2 weeks of acupressure treatment. What was even more impressive is that 79% of the cancer patients in the study, because this was also involving cancer patients, had improvements in their sleep quality as well. All right, so 60% of general patients, 70% of the people who had cancer, all right, slept better through acupressure treatment. That right there is a kind of shocking or strange thing. Like, how is pressing certain points in your body helping people to sleep better?
Right.
But there's several studies that affirm this. And also, if you have experienced yourself, you'll know that, wow, this actually does really work. And there's a diagram. There's a point right here, right outside of your wrist called the HT7 acupressure point that was manipulated in another study that helped the patients in the study to sleep better. But also they found that it directly led to an increase in urinary metabolites of melatonin. So basically, they found melatonin metabolites in their tinkle, right? And it's just like your body's producing and assimilating this properly, simply from manipulating this small point, right?
Wow.
Bananas, okay?
Yeah, it is.
So this is why unorthodox, today is unorthodox treatment. So consider getting some acupressure treatment, all right? Or consider learning a little bit about it because it's definitely interesting. And of course, there's acupuncture too with the needling. It's the same premise. So as mentioned before, chiropractic, and I had a good friend of mine actually message me yesterday, and just a gentle nudge, a reminder of the importance of chiropractic as when it comes to sleep is Jermaine, right? So Jermaine Ware, shout out to you, man. How you doing?
Hey.
And he's somebody who really helped to get me more involved in the world of chiropractic for sure, and a special thank you to him for that. But it's one of the first things that he hears from his patients, Dr. Jermaine Ware, that I slept so much better after the chiropractic treatment. It's one of the first things that he always hears. And so there was a study published in the Journal of Manipulative and Physiological Therapeutics with 221 patients and 15 chiropractors who completed the study. And what they found was that patients with sleeping difficulties benefited greatly from chiropractic care. And so at the end of the study, 154 patients completed the entire semi-structured study, and 1/3 of them reported that their sleep pattern was changed immediately after their chiropractic adjustment. Okay, there was an improvement. And all but one of these patients said that they had an improvement. So all of them except one said that they had improvement in their sleep quality. All right, so again, something to consider, chiropractic adjustment. And the chiropractors that I know look at it as more of a wellness practice instead of You come here when there's a problem,
That's
when
right.
my back is out, to get fixed by the back doctor. Well, they actually tend to be a lot more than that and a lot more holistic and all-encompassing in their treatment. So just another nudge to go and get connected to a great chiropractor.
Shouts out to Doctors Xavier Tipler and Edgar Everett,
Yes,
who make
for sure.
that a great part of our wellness
Who we
routine.
had Dr. Tipler
Yes,
on
we
in the
did.
early. We're at 150.
Right.
150 today, so it was much
We're
earlier
seniors,
on.
man. Right.
So chiropractic is another fantastic method of body work that you can get on a regular basis to help to improve your sleep quality. One more that I'm going to share, and this was highlighted by the appearance of the incredible Dr. Kelly Starrett when he was on the show, and definitely one of the smartest people that I've ever talked to. And he mentioned this kind of strange practice that's a bodywork practice that he called gut smashing. All right, gut smashing. So this is taking one of those little plastic, quote, princess balls that you might find in a bin at, Target or Walmart, something like that. And I found one that's a Spider-Man one, and so my son plays with it part-time. I use it part-time for the gut smashing. And so this is basically laying down on the ball, and a lot of people who do foam rolling and who, fool around with the lacrosse ball to get in there with your fascia and break up that kind of gummy, gluey, even scar tissue, stuff that happens over time as your body starts to kind of get tangled up a little bit, unsavory. And so same thing applies to your abdominal wall. But how this actually works is you have the vagus nerve running through.
Is it Vegas?
Yeah. What happens in Vegas, Right. So, but actually it doesn't stay in Vegas.
Yeah,
funny
I
enough.
hope so.
So what
there.
researchers have found is that the vagus nerve that connects your gut to your brain, and there are other organs along this nerve pathway, crazy thing is that and UCLA actually found this out, 90% of those fibers on the vagus nerve are sending information from your gut to your brain, not the other way around. So your gut is in many ways telling your brain what to do. And this is why Chapter 7 in Sleep Smarter is such a game changer when we're talking about how to fix your gut to improve your sleep. That chapter was probably one of the funnest
That
and
needs
most
to be a
powerful.
show.
Yeah, definitely at some point. So
I love that.
But I really drilled down and talked about that there. But you can actually kind of get in there and activate. This is another parasympathetic hack by getting in there and massaging around in your belly region.
So you just rub the ball
So
around
basically,
your
you lay down on it. You put your weight on the ball. You put the ball on the floor.
Oh, wow.
And you get on top of that bad boy and you move around a little bit.
That
Find
sounds a
tender
little-
spots, kind of
Yeah,
sit
I
on
was
it,
gonna
breathe
say,
into
that's
it.
gotta be
I
tender.
break down the exact process that Kelly outlined here on our show. We'll put
great.
that episode in the show notes too. It's in the book as well. All right, so gut smashing.
gut smashing.
Unorthodox. Today, it's about unorthodox.
That's right.
All right. Boxing lefty. All right. Southpaw. Okay. So how do we implement this on a regular basis? Tip number 1 to get some body work on a regular basis. Number 1, book a massage right now.
I will.
All right. Book a massage right now.
Subscribe for several.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
All right. You deserve it. It's something that can be a regular part of your life. And now with these different franchise massage studios, they have memberships and you get like one a month and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So and at least once a month, I'd say.
So
would
what's
be a
your
great
favorite?
idea.
Since you've tried so many, which one do you really love?
It just
to
depends.
Get?
It really depends. Seriously. I mean, I can't even give an answer.
Okay.
It depends on what I need. And just listening to your body, But generally, again,
What's an example?
the Swedish massage, it depends on what you're going for too. Like sometimes I'll get some deep tissue work done, and that's, that could be a little bit more intense, but you will be releasing the endorphins and all that stuff as well.
Nice.
But it's not as relaxing, let me tell you. I mean, I asked
At
somebody
least not at the time,
get
right?
in there, like she put her whole oh my goodness.
He's part-time WWF.
Right. I was like, what did I do to you?
Right.
And so book a massage, get a membership. But so that's part 1. And if you are somebody who, it's like it's not really in the budget at this current time, number 1, you always keep focused on what you want because there is a way if this is something that you're interested in. Outside of that, there's a free version.
Right.
It's called partner massage.
How about that?
If you've got a family member or a lover in your life.
Or children.
Hook it up. Yes, those little
Employ
kids, their
your
little
children.
fingers.
That's
I'm getting
right.
my youngest son already. I'm like, hey, Braden, come on over
Right.
here.
That's
I mean,
right.
it just feels like a little tickle right now at this point. But hey, when he builds up that strength,
Yeah.
he's going to be my guy.
He'll be already ready. Have them grab the lacrosse ball. Shoot.
Right. So the partner massage is another great idea and a viable option for all of us, just to, have a friend or family member just get in there. So, isn't it great when somebody just gives you a massage?
Yes.
You're not expecting it.
Yes.
You just sit in there just like, oh, yes.
It's amazing.
What did I do to deserve this? It's different, from the elbow going into the, midsection.
Well, it's also real different than having to ask, like, hey, do you mind?
Yeah. It's a pleasant surprise. So
Sure.
be more giving,
Yeah.
just go ahead and give a massage to somebody you care about. Or also, of course, just asking the people that you care about to help to get you some of these benefits, and you can, of course, return the favor. So that's the free option. And, there's a lot more there. So also self-massage. And like I mentioned, the acupressure points. And there's another little thing that I tend to do in the evenings is I'll roll my foot around on a tennis ball or a hard, smaller ball, like a lacrosse ball. And there are some spots on your foot, and it feels really good, but also sometimes it feels really,
Right.
but then it feels good later.
Right,
so,
right.
but
like you stepped on a rake.
The human body, we're really not supposed to be carrying around tension. We shouldn't be in pain.
Yeah.
We just something that we accept. But you can do things to help your body to change and to get out of pain. So there's another cool thing. And also bodywork tools. So we mentioned earlier the lacrosse ball, the princess ball, the foam roller. And there's like fancy gadgets that you can like reach around your back and that whole thing. So all those things are fair game. All right. So that is number 1 here on our list of the unorthodox tips, the 4 unorthodox tips to help you sleep better every night. So get some body work in on a consistent basis. So number 2 on our list of the 4 unorthodox tips to help you sleep better every night is to get in some earthing time. All right, earthing. That. Get your vitamin G, your ground time, or your vitamin E. Well, there's already vitamin E, so it's vitamin G. All right, so all the rage right now in health and wellness and in nutrition, there's a big focus on antioxidants, right?
Okay.
And so the idea behind antioxidants, they essentially carry free electrons that neutralize a free radical activity or a free radical event in your body that stops overly aggressive oxidation right in its tracks. So this is a positively charged event that an electron comes in from the antioxidant and it neutralizes that event, that inflammation. So some inflammation is actually good. Like you need inflammation to be able to grow, right? You're creating inflammation when you exercise, for example. But we need both, we need the yin and the yang, we need both sides of it.
And I'm glad you keep emphasizing that because many times we'll hear, oh, that's bad. And then we'll run in and try to strip ourselves of all of that.
Right. We're guzzling antioxidants.
Right.
We're eating blueberries till we turn blue.
Yeah.
Right.
Willy Wonka.
What happened to you? And so, but you can literally eat antioxidants until you're blue in the face, but you oftentimes won't get the result because of what is going to get lost in the digestive process. Your body is not going to be able to assimilate a lot of that stuff. So how about we turn to the source of the food in the first place?
There we go.
So what is this earthing and grounding that I'm talking about? We're going to do a whole show dedicated to this. We've got an expert who actually helped to bring this to the forefront coming on this year. So it's going to be amazing. But bottom line is this. The Earth's surface itself is brimming with free electrons. All right. It is what it is. But humans only see a certain spectrum of light. Some animals see more into infrared, there's ultraviolet light. We see a certain spectrum of reality, and it is what it is. So, like with X-ray, there's so much that we're not seeing with the way that we're tuned to reality. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. And the human body is also extremely conductive. We've got to get this piece too, all right? I've shocked you before, we go in for a hug, high five, whatever.
Right.
What? You shocked me.
And I call you electric.
I think you did.
I do. I'm like, you're electric.
So we can shock each other because we build up and carry static electricity. And also human beings, we can create something called piezoelectricity just from moving. Our tissues are generating piezoelectricity, which is really cool. And also on the more kind of crazy end, the socket, the outlet. You don't want to put nothing metal in there while you're holding it because you will get electrocuted. And then the scary movie situation, right? I mentioned this before, but worst scene ever. Like you're sitting in the tub, you're trying to exfoliate, listen to music, kicking back, and then there's the creepy guy from the scary movie dropping that electronic device into the bathwater. It's like, bro,
Gone.
I'm trying to get my relax on,
Yeah.
And so because, again, that fear is there because we are, in fact, very conductive. And so the Earth's surface is brimming with free electrons. Our tissues are very, very conductive, and we can absorb and give off electricity. So once those two things get together, le magic happens.
They come together nicely. What a dance.
There was a study published in the 2013 issue of the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine, and it showed that grounding, so getting your body directly in touch with the Earth's electromagnetic surface, they found that grounding increases the surface charge of red blood cells and thereby reduces blood viscosity and clumping. Grounding appears to be one of the simplest and yet most profound interventions for helping to reduce cardiovascular risk.
Get out.
All right. What?
So
we're not talking about statins.
Same.
We're not talking about, even meditation. We're talking about something as simple and as primal as touching the ground.
That's amazing.
Right? And how many of us do that on a regular basis?
We don't. Shoes,
in our culture.
socks,
I know for years, I never thought about that.
I scold a child for going outside barefoot. I feel really bad now.
Yeah. Hey, when I was a kid, I remember I didn't like to have my shoes off, but I was one of those kids. I don't know where that came from, but I remember my cousins would just be all out there getting all in the dirt. And I would with my hands, but just not my feet.
Not my feet.
Right?
Tenderfoot.
So, it's just understanding this is something that your genes expect you to do.
Right.
There's tons
we
of
were
research
made
to help
before
back
shoes
this up.
were.
Yeah. Deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
And so shoes they have a rubber sole. It's going to have rubber sole, which that's not conductive.
Right.
All right. That's an insulator. So those vibes, that electrons, those free electrons can't make their way into your tissues.
Love it.
And so how does it impact sleep? All right. So this is in Sleep Smarter as well. There was a study that found that patients who were grounded during sleep had reduced nighttime levels of cortisol. All right. Just by being grounded during sleep, reduced nighttime levels of cortisol, and an overall normalization of cortisol secretion during the next day.
That's great.
Okay, so this helped in essence to reset their normal cortisol rhythm. Super powerful stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And also, so that was the objective monitoring. The subjective, so from the patient's perspective, they reported that in the study that they had better sleep quality, they had reduced pain, and they also had lowered stress the next day.
You can't beat that.
Okay.
And then if they're getting quality sleep and the sleep party's happening, cortisol is in check, it's probably going to be epic.
So how are we doing? Or should we be like Canteen Boy? And you're going out camping? This is the classic. Shout out to SNL character, Adam Sandler and Alec Baldwin.
Yes.
You can go to YouTube, check it out.
You have
Canteen
to
Boy.
see it.
He's like, Shabadoo, we gonna light a fire. Right? And so we don't have to be like Canteen Boy and going out and sleeping in a tent to get this benefit.
Yeah.
There are really incredible and well-designed devices that can actually help to bring that benefit right to your bed while you're sleeping. And we had Dr. Jeff Spencer on the show as well, who's responsible or behind. He's involved in over 40 either Tour de France championships, World Championships, NCAA, Olympic championships. Crazy experience. And he's found that one of his greatest assets in working with his athletes has been grounding and using this earthing technology. With the Tour de France, 7 victories in a row, which is just, it doesn't even make any sense how grueling that sport is. So he found that they recovered faster, they had more energy the next day, and also injuries. Like there's one picture that he sent me of an athlete who had a pretty bad spill on the bike. Yeah. And they were actually hooking the earthing little patches right around the wound, and it didn't even make any sense to my human brain, to my man brain, of how quickly he recovered.
Well, so now I'm hearing a little more to this. So grounding isn't just grounding is putting our feet to the earth, but earthing, it actually draws something if they actually had sensors and things around the wound?
It doesn't matter which part of your body specifically is touching the ground. It's going to impact your whole entire physiology. Okay. It's not just creating magic tickles with your feet, So it's going to send those electrons wherever they need to go. If there's an inflammatory event, this is why it's clinically proven to reduce inflammation. Again, we really need to do a whole show to break this down because this is a pretty complex understanding and like how does a science even work? Because as you know, I'm a very analytical person.
Yeah,
and there are so many layers to this.
Yeah.
And because it's something so simple and we can't see it, we can see it, the clinical results,
Right.
but we can't see it happen.
Like air.
Right.
We know.
There's this stuff we're breathing.
I mean,
like
it's simple,
we're
but it's
like
complicated.
we're swimming in it,
Yeah,
right? Like a
yeah.
fish doesn't know that it's in water,
Right.
you know. But when you're out of that, like
For
it
sure.
knows
Right.
quickly.
Or
You
when
know,
you
same
don't
thing
have
with
air.
us.
Yeah.
So even though we can't see it, it's probably the most important nutrient.
Which then speaks to, because we're not connecting to the earth and we don't see the effects, but we're certainly experiencing the impact of not having that connection.
Yes, we got to get our vitamin G. So how do we do this? How do we implement this on a regular basis?
Yeah.
And of course, read this chapter. This is chapter 21 in
No
Sleep Smarter
problem.
for a little bit more information on it. And of course, like I said, we're going to do, I can't wait to do this show.
That's going to be
when we
good.
talk about this. So, but right now you don't have to wait. All right. So you can get some direct vitamin G on a regular basis. So get your body around conductive surfaces of the earth. So what does that look like? Grass,
Oh,
dirt.
you're not talking about asphalt.
No.
The safe surfaces of the sidewalk.
Well, concrete is actually conductive.
Is it?
All right. It is. It's kind of semi-conductive.
Okay.
Asphalt is not conductive.
Okay.
Bodies of water. So actually,
Bodies of water are or are not?
They are.
Okay.
We actually get grounded when we're taking a shower because the pipes are grounded. And so that water is coming through those conductive pipes and hitting you. And how often do you hear, like, I have the best ideas in the shower?
Well, and yeah, you hear
Right?
that and feel like you're the best songstress.
It's so rejuvenating. Right.
But you feel better after a shower,
You
period.
getting your Mariah on,
oh, man.
your MC.
You got to hear that.
Right, so-
Crack a glass.
Make sure that you're on a consistent basis.
Okay.
Just 5 or 10 minutes a day, I recommend. You know, the more the better. If you can just get outside and play. Like, remember what it's like to just get outside and be with nature. And a lot of people listening, of course, live in a city environment, and it's not as viable to find even a patch of grass sometimes.
Right.
Have you been to Las Vegas? Shout out to all the people in Las Vegas listening. I just talked with a good friend of mine, Mike Dolce,
Dolce.
right, who lives out in Vegas. Fake grass. I couldn't
It's turf.
it was just like when I first went there and the airplane was like, you know, the pilot was like, we're 5 minutes, you know, till landing. I'm just like, where? You know,
Till
like
landing what?
there's only desert out here.
Dirt,
Then
yeah.
all of a sudden there's this city that humans put like right in the middle of that. And so, yeah, there's not a lot of greenery
Wow.
that you're going to find in certain places, but there's always a way, especially
There's
utilizing this grounding technology I'm going to talk about in a minute. So just get your feet on the grass, right? Or even if the weather isn't as conducive to you getting outside, right? Snow.
Rain?
That's going to stop a lot of people. Did you see all those Instagram videos of people doing the crazy stuff in the snow?
No,
When that big
but
snow
I will
happened?
be looking.
Yeah, it was crazy, right? And then like another friend of the show, Daniel Vitalis, he'll get out there and that stuff.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Well, I
you know?
remember as a kid, though, loving to jump in puddles.
Kids, like it's automatic.
You could
You
do
see
that
puddles, you
barefoot.
gotta do
yeah,
it,
especially,
you know.
but even with no shoes.
But
and then
even
we're
getting
like,
out and playing the snow, we want to do that too.
Yeah.
You know, rocking the snow angels
snow
and just,
through your toes.
you know. And so, but during those times of year, or if it is difficult, the grounding technology. So I've got a grounding mat under my office desk. All right, so I've got that, and it's through the grounding prong in the outlet, right? And so it plugs in there, and it sends those free electrons right through the mat.
So you are electric.
And there's a tester that you can get it blew my, like, still, even though I saw the science, it's hard to believe, but you hold this tester in your hand,
Yeah.
and there's a little green
You're
light
brave.
on it, right? It's a little green light. No, it's just like it looks like a thumb drive.
Yeah, but you're standing on a plugged-in mat.
No.
Oh,
Listen,
okay.
It's not plugged in. It's in the grounding prong.
I got
It's
you.
not in the actual electrical outlet. That would be not smart.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I've seen
So,
folks
you literally haven't seen
do
folks.
strange things.
So you hold this, it looks like a thumb drive, and there's a little light on there.
Yeah.
And so you hold it, and it's just like, this isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I just touch the mat with my finger. Boom, the light comes on.
Right through you.
Right through me.
You're a conductor.
You remember Uncle Fester?
Yes.
You know, like that's what, I'm Uncle Fester.
Right.
Maybe a little more attractive.
Well, slightly.
But Uncle Fester, like the light came on through
Yeah.
me. It was so powerful. So another unorthodox way to improve your sleep quality. There's also grounding bed sheets. There are,
Wow,
like the
that probably is
patches,
great.
things that you can wrap around your body.
Have you slept in any of those? Have
Yeah,
you
I've had
tried that?
the earthing bed sheets for years,
And
probably
use them
half a
regularly?
decade. Well, most of the time I use it when I travel now,
Yeah.
but I don't use it as frequently. I slept on them for years straight, but now
That
because there's
sounds
so many other
cool.
things that I'm doing and I want to test and see how other things impact me, but definitely feel much more
Ooh.
rejuvenated if I do a lot of other things wrong when I sleep grounded. All right, so that's number 2 on the list. So now let's jump into number 3 on our list of the unorthodox tips to help you to sleep better every night.
Every night.
Number 3 is to change the color of your lights at night.
Ooh.
Let me read
Not disco ball
another
type business.
section from the Great American
Sleep Bible.
Sleep Bible. Sleep Smarter. So this is from another one of my favorite chapters as well. Chapter 10, Get It Blacked Out. And there's a subhead here called Lux Capacitor.
You're so clever.
Shout out to Back to the Future,
Right?
the flux capacitor. Shout out to Pat Flynn. I know if he's listening.
He would dig that.
Yeah.
He makes me smile.
All right. So this one is called Lux Capacitor. Since we can't go back in time and change the fact that our society has become so dependent on light, there are a couple of things you can do to reduce the burden that excess light can have on your body. A study at Harvard Medical School found that exposure to light at night throws the body's biological clock out of whack, which you already know. But what they also discovered was that not all colors of light have the same effect. The Harvard researchers conducted an experiment comparing the effects of 6.5 hours of exposure to blue light, like you get from the screens of your everyday tech devices, to exposure to green light of comparable brightness. The blue light suppressed melatonin for about twice as long as the green light did, and shifted circadian rhythms by twice as much.
Dang.
3.5 hours versus 1.5 hours. The research indicates that just by changing the color spectrum of light you're exposed to at night, you can help prevent melatonin from being bullied by the Biff-like power of blue lighting.
Biff. That's good. This is good.
Colors even have a correlating temperature that influences their impact on the human body. According to the Kelvin scale, blue light is at the furthest end of the spectrum, meaning it occurs at higher temperatures, while red occurs at lower, cooler temperatures. This is the opposite of the cultural associations attributed to colors, in which red is, quote, hot and blue is, quote, cold. This explains why Harvard researchers recommend using dim red lights at night. According to their data, red light has the least power to shift circadian rhythm and suppress melatonin.
Whoa.
And so then I go on to talk a little bit about what lux is. And so that's like the luminance or the strength of the light, because according to the research, that matters as well.
So you talked about blue light and how it would suppress melatonin twice as much as green light. Where am I getting green light typically?
So we're getting exposed to all different colors and spectrums of light on a daily basis. So the interesting thing about sunlight is that there's so many different spectrums of light coming off of that. But we really can't, again, pick that up because it's all blended together, right? But that blue light is the strongest spectrum of light that is consistent with what sunlight is delivering to us.
But we see it in our tech devices more.
Yes,
Okay.
because that blue light most resembles that strong light coming from the sun that tells our physiology that it's daytime, thus produce daytime hormones, right? And so green light, it's rare that you're going to see any kind of green lights in nature, and I'm thinking of Kermit the Frog, have you seen those memes with him drinking the tea?
Oh, yeah, funny.
Oh, my goodness.
That's very funny.
What does he talk? Why does he talk to Piggy like that? He's like, hi ho,
Oh, well, because he's
Hi,
happy.
ho.
He got him a robust sister.
Kermit the Frog. Yeah. But anyway, so that green spectrum you're not going to see very typically. So even with your MacBook there, when you plug it in and you see those green lights kind of showing on the side of the computer that it's charging, you can read by that light. It can be so bright in darkness. So you're definitely not going to see green light very often by itself in nature. But we do see a lot of through our evolution at night is the more reddish, orangish tones, thus that familiar glow of fire.
I got it.
So I'm going to read one more quick section for you guys. And this is in the same chapter. This is what it goes on to talk about with the lux. Instead of basking in the hot light of standard light bulbs from our lamps and overhead lights, try utilizing the soft light of candles in the evening to transition to a great night of sleep. Humans have been using the cherished glow of fire for eons to cook our food, warm our bodies, and light our way at night. But remember, it's still a tiny fire being lit in your home. So use candles with respect and attentiveness. You can even swap out certain lights in your home for a couple of lamps with red bulbs. It might assist in setting a sexy mood to help you out with what you learned in chapter 9. And by the way, if you haven't read Sleep Smarter yet,
believe
check
me,
out chapter
I'm going
9.
to dog ear that right now.
And whether you're a fan of rock and roll, R&B, country, or even K-pop, the influence of red light is enough to have quite a few songs written about it. Nice. Shout out to TLC.
There we go.
Red Light Special, right? It's still helpful to remember that it's not just the color of light, though it is extremely important. It's also about the luminance. Lux is the unit used to measure luminance. As you can see from the chart, and there's a chart here breaking all this stuff down, the lux from direct sunlight is upwards of 100,000. Compare that to the normal light exposure our ancestors would get from moonlight at under 1 tiny lux, and you can see how abnormal our typical evening light exposure can be. Indoor lighting can range from 50 to 500 lux, automatically triggering a suppression of melatonin if you're unprotected from these lights at night. Mm-hmm. Follow the recommendations in Chapter 3 for lessening your screen exposure after dark. Utilize cooler color lights in your home in the evening, and take action to get your bedroom as dark as possible at night to ensure you get the melatonin production and the sleep that you really need. And then we go on to talk about the power tips in that chapter. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Lots there, and this is just one tiny piece of that chapter. So rich with information, but bottom line is, so how do we implement this on a regular basis? Number one, use lights with dimmers. Like, we've really got some cool lights in our house now where we can turn them down and turn them up, so you can, lower the lights, kind of set the mood or set the transition, especially so when it gets dark outside, I turn the lights down, and just, we can still do everything that we're going to do, hang out, talk, all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, it's not as bright.
Right.
And
it seems like it would start to bring down the energy and the tone. And
I see that with the kids as well. And so that's number one. You can use lights with dimmers. Wear blue light blocking glasses. That's another thing. It kind of filters out the most troublesome spectrum of light around us. And in Sleep Smarter, everybody who has it already knows there's a bonus resource guide where I direct you to, because I've got so many. So sometimes I'll tell my 4-year-old, can you go grab daddy's glasses? And it sounds weird because I'm so young. We're not talking about those kind of glasses. Right. We're talking about these nighttime shades. And he's always like, which ones? Right. Every time, it's like.
So do you change them out?
No, I use the same. I've been using the same ones because these are the best ones. But I'm experimenting for so long. But these are the ones I've stuck with, the last about 3 months now. And I love them. They actually look great too.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. So when you get home, you start putting them on in the evening?
Yeah, when it gets dark outside, I'll go and grab my glasses generally, just to kind of filter out, not just if you're on the device, if you're on your computer, we've got apps for that, but just everything else around you,
right.
And it Makes really sense. Does help with your sleep quality. I promise you.
Man, you can probably sleep sweet, like yummy sleep.
I wrote the book. Right. Like, have you read
You
Sleep
better
Smarter?
Well, there's the cobbler's shoes in some cases.
Another tip is to swap out a couple of lamps or to get a new lamp maybe for your bedroom and utilize a red light bulb. It's another really interesting thing that you could do, so you could still move around, hang out and talk, maybe read a little bit, that kind of thing. So you can swap out one of your light sources with the red light. Another tip, one final tip here for this one is candles. I know some people, in my life, some of my friends, like, candles are their jam. It's their peanut butter and jam. Like, this is what they love. When it gets to be that evening time, they light those candles and sets that mood for peace and tranquility. And also, of course, they tend to get better sleep than most other people that I know. Right. Which that's changed radically since the birthing of this book. But, even from years ago, I would quiz people and ask them their evening routines. It was so interesting that I would see this on a consistent basis. So candles can set a nice mood overall. Shout out to
period.
Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh,
Teddy
turn off
P.
the light.
Teddy P. Shout out to Teddy
P. He's going.
All right, so that's number 3. We've got one more here on our list of the 4 unorthodox ways to improve your sleep every night. So number 4 on a list of the unorthodox ways, the 4 unorthodox ways to improve your sleep quality every night, and this is the opposite end of the spectrum of what we just talked about, is to use light therapy with your eyes and your ears. All right. So Stay with me. Stay with me. So there's research published in the journal Innovations in Clinical Neuroscience. And what they found was that sunlight, so exposure to sunlight during the early part of the day, significantly decreases cortisol later in the day when compared to being exposed to dim light during the day. So getting that access to natural sunlight in the morning helps to set your circadian timing and your cortisol rhythm. And we've talked about this several times already today, that if cortisol is up in the morning, that's going to make sure melatonin is down.
Right.
Because if melatonin's elevated in the early part of the day or just off or cortisol's off, you're going to have a tendency to be more tired.
Yeah.
And clinically, we call these people tired and wired. All right. So in the morning, they're tired. In the evening, they're wired. And so this just getting natural sunlight will help to lower your cortisol later in the day. Really that simple. Now, what about when you don't get outside? All right. Number one. And even worse, not even getting full exposure to natural light in the office. Say this is when you're taking a long flight, for example, and changing a bunch of time zones.
Yeah, you might not see the light of day at all.
Exactly. And so when you're not getting outside, there's this really great study that I talked about in Sleep Smarter that has office workers exposed to natural light coming in their office building versus individuals working in basically a cubicle dungeon where they don't have exposure to natural light. And they ended up getting 173% less exposure to natural light. And as a result, they slept 46 minutes less on average than people exposed to natural light. More sleep problems. They woke up more often. They reported more depression and more physical ailments than those who got exposure to natural sunlight just coming in the windows.
173%.
Yeah.
That's
a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time they're missing out on. And so understand, we want to make sure that we're doing things, if we are in those settings, to help our bodies to stay in rhythm as much as possible. And that's where these little hacks come in. So to treat conditions like seasonal affective disorder, AKA SAD, so seasonal affective disorder, and it's often referred to as kind of the winter blues, where there's not as much exposure to sunlight. Light boxes, so these lights that emit this certain spectrum of light is actually clinically proven to be effective to reduce symptoms of SAD and also to improve overall positive disposition in these individuals, and also, funny enough, to improve sleep quality. So there's light boxes, which that's kind of weird if you're sitting there at your desk and you've got this, like, what is that?
What are you doing?
Box? You know, there are visors, which could
Tesseract.
be
Avengers.
Shout out to the Avengers, yes. So, and then there's visors, right? So you can actually wear these visors that basically put that light spectrum right through your optical receptors, which again, that might look a little weird where you're hanging out at the office trying to do your TPS reports, right? So you got to be kind of careful or really, a little bit more confident to do something like that, or be Kanye West, one of those
That's
options.
all it takes. Yeah.
And the other thing, have you seen his line of clothes, by the way?
No, how are they? Interesting.
There's a meme. It shows his fashion show, and then it shows like a scene from The Walking Dead in the zombies' clothes all tattered up.
I saw that meme.
Anyways.
That was funny.
So these visors, but something that's really interesting is actually understanding that your ears, so if you actually put light in through your ears, it can sense light and have a lot of the same results we've been talking about. And I first learned about this through my friend Ben Greenfield, who's been on the show as well. And so I put his show in the show notes. And so this is what he broke down when he really looked into this. And he pointed me to these particular earbuds I'm going to tell you about. So one study conducted by scientists, and this was from the Department of Diagnostic Radiology at the University of Oulu in Finland. And they divided 50 healthy people into two groups, one of which received 12 minutes of gentle light exposure in their ears via these earbuds that basically had light shining from them. And another group received lightless earbuds. So they were the kind of placebo earbuds. During the light exposure in the ear, a functional magnetic resonance imaging, so this is the fMRI, scan of each of the group's brain activity was conducted. All right, so they were doing the treatment and their brain activity was being watched at the same time. And so again, Ben detailed all of this in his post, and like I said, I'll put his episode here back onto the show notes for this episode.
So Dr. Dre's got the beats and somebody else has got the lights.
So the results showed a significant increase in the activation of the visual and sensory motor areas of the brain in the group that received the light in their ears. All right, those parts of the brain, crazy, right?
Right.
Compared to zero activation in those parts of the brain from the placebo earbud group. So this means that there is, in fact, photosensitivity of the brain that's independent from what we're picking up with our eyes.
Yeah.
Right. So
So
really
then,
interesting.
for those of us who thought putting on the eye mask, the night eye mask, was enough, that even if there's still light on in the place that you're in, your ears, your
Yes.
skin, and of course other organs are
Mhm.
taking in, they have receptors to take in light. So
Exactly.
you're not necessarily solving that problem.
The thing is, though, now with the lack of light now, so how do we get more to
Yeah.
our brain and to tell our brains, hey, it's daytime, we should be producing daytime hormones to set that pattern correctly? And how is this impacting our sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was another study, and this was published in Aerospace Medicine and Human Performance, and they utilized these earbuds as well. And they found that there was a significant reduction of overall jet lag symptoms from using these earbuds. There was a drop in subjective sleepiness. So there people were saying, I wasn't as sleepy after using these, and less fatigue when compared to the individuals who are not using the earbuds. All right, the placebo group, the fake earbud group. So that tells you right there, again, this is actually something that can help with jet lag.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's bananas. So the bottom line is you can find these little interesting hacks, and the earbuds are much more, I guess, inconspicuous, where you just kind of popping in
As
some
opposed to the
earbuds. And
visor.
especially like if you're going to be in an office setting, away from natural light, if you're traveling, just to give your body and your brain to help it to sync up a little bit better. Again, these are hacks. All right, these are unorthodox means, but the number one thing is getting exposure, like I opened this tip with, to natural light on a consistent basis. Do your best to do that.
Yeah.
And we break it all down in Sleep Smarter, the chapter dedicated to that, and different strategies on how to make that happen. Even if you've got all the excuses in the world, like,
I do.
you don't understand, when I get to work, they put me in a cage and they throw away the key. And I'm like,
I'm in
and
solitary.
I've got this Igor thing growing, and it's just like, it's so bad. But actually, there is a way, and it's just changing your attitude. So how to implement these things on a regular basis: make it a mandate to get exposure to natural light during the day. Just make it a mandate.
Right.
Make it a part of who you are and a part of your daily ritual. That's number one by far. And again, it's really about your attitude and your intention and expectation. I expect greatness. I expect to get natural sunlight. I expect to eat healthy food.
How much sunlight would be a good recommendation?
Really, it depends. There's so many things here. You can
Okay.
open up a whole can,
Sorry,
a whole
that's
new
how
show.
I do.
But the darker your complexion, the more sun you actually need, because you've got some built-in
I need to
sunblock.
move back to Kenya.
Right? So, and so that's one of the things that kind of matters. So the lighter complexion you are, the less, your body kind of takes it up a little bit quicker. But also, I say a minimum of maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, cool.
Even, it's
We can
not
manage
that.
that.
Doesn't have to be that
Yeah, we
complex.
can manage
And
that.
then, but also allowing that natural sunlight to fill your room, like we're here in the studio today.
nice.
And even on an overcast day, it's more powerful than the most fancy pants light box that you can get. So that's number one. Number two is to take advantage of cool advancements in phototherapy, like the light boxes, the visors. And so it's called the Human Charger, is the name of the earbuds. And they're from Valkee is the name of the company, Valkee. And we'll link that up in the show notes. So go to themodelhealthshow.com and you'll see it right there. So there you have it, guys. 4
Amazing.
unorthodox tips to help you to sleep better
That was
every
strange
night.
but interesting.
Strange.
Yeah.
Strange.
Strange.
Boomerang.
Yeah.
That movie made me want to get into marketing. Like when I
that
saw Eddie
right?
Murphy, I was like, that's cool.
Right.
Because I was like, should I be a doctor? Because that's kind of the thing that's programmed in our society. ER.
Right,
It's like,
right.
or man, Marcus
Be
is
cool.
he's doing his thing.
Marcus.
So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that you enjoyed the show today. It's really important that we don't just get this information and have it kind of on the outskirts of our life. And I know that you listening especially, you're not one of those people. You're not walking around like a human filing cabinet, just accumulating information and not putting into action. And that's even apparent from the review from today as well.
Wow, yeah.
And so this stuff is actionable. These things are things that you can go and put in play in your life today. You can go and book a massage today. You can talk with one of your loved ones today. You can go give somebody a massage today.
Yeah.
You can go and kick off your shoes right now and go and get some vitamin G directly from the source that created all of life. Everything about you, if you just look down, take a look down at yourself, all of that goodness that you see there, everything that you see came from the earth. Every part of you, all those proteins, all those minerals came from the earth itself. Get reconnected to that. It's going to bring a lot more health and vitality to your life for sure. So,
and then it's on top of the sleep that you're going to get from it. So that's
of
a
course,
whole, yeah.
we're
Opens
creating
up a whole nother
instead of a
world.
vicious circle, it's a virtuous circle. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the show today. I appreciate you so much. Make sure to share this with your friends, people you care about. Take care. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk with you soon.